From Vietnam to Afghanistan, the US has sent troops marching onto foreign soil time and again. Yet almost every time, it has failed to change occupied countries for the better. The chaotic images of the airlift from Kabul have triggered comparisons to another evacuation from a losing war in Saigon, Vietnam in 1975. Ending the Vietnamese War sank former President Gerald Ford's re-election hopes.
And although I'm saddened by the events that we've read about and seen, it's a tragedy unbelievable in its ramifications.
With increasing criticism of President Joe Biden's incompetence, is the Afghan exit the new Vietnam for the US? I'm Dr. Qiao. The Vietnamese and Afghan wars were two wars fought by the US for different causes and with different outcomes. The direct military intervention in Vietnam in 1961 was a US crusade against communism. Americans had a hard time agreeing initially to such a fight. On the contrary, President George W. Bush enjoyed wide bipartisan support for invading Afghanistan in 2001 in the name of attacking Al-Qaeda, which was held accountable for the September 11th attacks.
This is history. It's a tragedy.
The Taliban must act and act immediately. They will hand over the terrorists, or they will share in their fate.
The American public supported the US military in taking on terrorism in Afghanistan. Several posters have asked Americans recently about the decision to pull troops out of Afghanistan and about their overall impressions of US involvement there. In recent years, the economy and the coronavirus have been of greater concern, and Afghanistan had receded in their minds. A 2018 Pew Research Center survey showed that about half of the public considered the US had mostly failed in Afghanistan. In 2020, a Chicago Council poll showed that Americans were split on keeping long-term bases in Afghanistan. But President Biden is continuing Donald Trump's plan to withdraw completely.
Last night in Kabul, the United States ended 20 years of war in Afghanistan.
The scenes we saw recently at the Kabul airport may be as shocking and agonizing, if not more, as the US evacuation from Saigon. But the two wars were different in nature. Having studied the failures of his predecessor, President Richard Nixon ended the Vietnam War in 1973. Meanwhile, Nixon learned that the United States no longer regarded its fundamental strategy as a containment of communism, but as a cooperative world order, in which Nixon and his chief advisor Henry Kissinger were focused on rebalancing the bigger world powers. Nixon had ordered Kissinger to negotiate diplomatic policies with the Soviet Union. He also opened high-level contact with China. US relations with the Soviet Union and China were of higher priority than the Vietnam War. The strategy gained peace instead of more international conflicts among the US, China, and the Soviet Union for decades, until the end of the Cold War and the bipolar system. However, with a rather controversial and chaotic evacuation from Afghanistan, the Biden administration does not aim at long-term peace, but has inherited the Trump administration's plan to confront China as the US's biggest rival. The pullout from Afghanistan is for the US military to regroup and build a ring of encirclement around China. The US is determined to use every possible means to contain China and to keep its hegemonic position. Obviously, the rush to lift Afghanistan is not out of the yearning for world peace, but part of the US plan to sabotage it.